The Second World War is responsible for a great many things. I'm sure that goes without saying. For instance, radar technology was developed and used extensively throughout the Second World War. When the war ended, they moved on to looking at different signals and waves, and they stumbled upon the microwave. Now, technically, the microwave has been around since the 1940s. However, it wasn't practical for home use, kind of like the calculator. It wasn't until the 1970s that manufacturers finally made a microwave that was cheap enough to have in the home. So, enter the microwave oven for eternity to our cooking repertoire. Now, in my family, we've had microwaves at least since the 1980s. I give you Exhibit A. This is the instructional manual to our 1980s microwave. In fact, circa 1984. Thanks to my mother for holding on to these things. Now, this thing is a fascinating book detailing how you can cook, defrost, melt, all sorts of things, and recipes, which includes stuff like desserts, breads, meats, and even fish. It's so detailed, it's ridiculous. All the things they thought we could do in a microwave. In fact, my uncle had a microwave that was black with chrome on it, such a beauty, and it had a preset button for you to create roast beef in your microwave. Doesn't that sound delicious? But it doesn't really work, as we've learned, because microwaves don't cook hot enough to create the Maillard reaction, which is browning, and then, oh, you don't care about that. Let's get to cooking. Welcome to the basics. Today we're going to deal with this blue box of pasta called mac and cheese, and every kid seems to like it, so we should try our own version of it. But you know my preference to get away from this box stuff, so I'm here to tell you that it's easy to do. Typically for that box stuff, you would need milk and butter. I'm happy to report that if we take and just add our own elbow macaroni pasta and our own choice of grated cheddar cheese, and of course, some salt and pepper, you've got yourself something delicious. Now, we are going to split this into two parts. First part we're going to deal with is the pasta itself. We're going to actually boil this on the stove first to get the best results, and then we'll move over to our microwave for the rest. You're going to take and boil 300 grams of that elbow macaroni until it reaches an appropriate doneness. If you'd like to know more on how to do this, check out our Alfredo pasta video. The link's down in the description. One other tip for you is that if you find yourself in certain death situation like this, I got a tip from an Italian gentleman who stayed with us for a while. And he showed me that if you're reaching this point of catastrophe because you forgot to turn down your heat, just take and blow across your pasta, and that'll give you enough time to stir and turn down the heat to avoid any more death-like situations. Oh, and one other sad note. Unfortunately, we're not going to need any of that beautiful pasta liquid for this recipe, so you can just go and strain it off. Or maybe keep it for something else. Perhaps a tasty beverage? You're going to need a casserole dish, obviously one that is microwave safe and has a nice fitting lid on it. Now, my dish I know here is just barely going to fit my pasta into it when it's all mixed, so I'm not going to do my mixing in this bowl. If yours is a little bit larger, then you can go ahead and mix right in it. So in my work bowl here, I'm going to take and put 2 tablespoons, that's 28 grams of butter. And then I'm going to take my pasta that I've drained and I'm going to send that into the work bowl as well. Now, the heat from my pasta is actually going to melt the butter here. So give that a stir around and coat the pasta with the butter, please. Once you've got that thoroughly incorporated, you're going to take and add 2 cups, that's about 280 grams, of your shredded cheddar cheese. And we're also going to take and add a teaspoon of salt and 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground black pepper. Take and combine that with your spoon so that it's all fairly evenly distributed. You might find that your cheese is going to melt a little bit here and it's going to stick to your spoon and stick together. It's okay. We are going to stir this again at some point, so it doesn't need to be perfectly incorporated at this point. Once I've got that all together, I'm going to take and I'm going to put this into my casserole dish. Now add 3/4 of a cup of milk over top of that whole mixture. Then I'm going to take and put this in my microwave for 8 minutes on high. Now high is usually the default, so you don't need to worry about that. Just turn it on 8 minutes and let it do its thing. After 8 minutes worth, you're going to need to take that out, and we want to stir it around. It's probably going to be hot at this point, so I'm going to don my gloves. It's going to be ooey and gooey, but we're not done yet. We need to stir it around. I promised you we'd stir it, so you didn't have to get it fully combined the first time. This is that opportunity. Give it a mix, and then it's going to go back into your microwave for 6 more minutes on high, please. Your patience will be rewarded, I promise. Now, to be honest, this is perfect just as it is. But if you want to, you could add a garnish to it. My mother used to add peas on top. Or sometimes ground beef. Not much of an improvement, to be honest. Here's some things I would suggest. Ooh, hot! You could add bacon. Or, might I suggest, some Japanese panko-style breadcrumbs sprinkled on top. And then, just to finish it off, someday I'm going to get me a real one of these. For the kitchen, of course. Dole out to between 4 to 6 people, or just enjoy yourself. So until next time, skip the blue box and dust off your microwave. Hot.